Have you ever noticed how $100 can disappear in the blink of an eye? Just a family dinner, some quick grocery shopping, or even a trip to the mall. And the money vanishes as if it never existed. For many, this amount seems too small to change anything. But here's the secret. $100 can be the turning point of your financial life. The value itself isn't what matters, but rather the decision about how to use it. For some, it's just consumption that evaporates in a few days. For others, it's the seed that begins building freedom, security, and wealth. The biggest mistake that keeps so many people stagnant is believing that only large amounts make a difference. This mentality creates infinite waiting for the ideal moment, which never comes. Those who decide to act, even with little, discover that it's not the size of the money that matters, but the mentality of whoever controls it. The big turnaround happens when you decide to look at $100 not as an expense, but as an investment. It seems simple, but this is where the difference lies between those who always live chasing money and those who manage to make money work for them. Think about it. When you spend $100 on something fleeting, a dinner, new clothes, any outing, the satisfaction is short-lived. The next day, the money is already gone and won't come back. This is the typical behavior of a consumer, someone who lives trapped in the cycle of spending and then needing to replenish. Now imagine you take those same $100 and put them into something that can generate returns. It doesn't matter if it's a small financial investment, a book that expands your vision, or even the beginning of a simple project. What's important is that in this moment, you're positioning yourself as an investor, and that changes everything. This act, however small it may seem, is powerful because it breaks inertia. Most people never start because they believe they need a lot to take the first step. When you decide to invest $100, you're telling yourself, I don't wait anymore, I start now. This gesture transforms more than your bank account. It transforms your identity. You stop being just someone who spends and become someone who plants. And whoever plants, harvests. It may be little at first, but it's this decision that opens the path to growth. Deep down, it's not the value that makes the difference, but the investor mentality. The consumer thinks about now. The investor thinks about tomorrow. The consumer seeks immediate pleasure. The investor seeks freedom. The consumer gets stuck in the short term. The investor builds for the long term. And all of this can start with just $100. There's a trap that holds millions of people throughout their entire lives, the so-called scarcity mentality. It's that inner voice that says, I can only invest when I have a lot of money left over. Until then, there's no point in starting. This thinking seems logical, but it's precisely what prevents most from advancing. The result? Time passes, expenses increase, and the ideal moment never arrives. Those who think this way live waiting for a future that doesn't materialize. Now look at the other side. Those who understand that small contributions make a difference manage to create discipline, consistency, and financial responsibility. Imagine investing $100 per month. It may seem little today, but over time, this attitude shapes habits and creates a growth cycle. It's like training a muscle. Nobody starts by lifting 100 kilograms at once. First, you start light, gain strength and consistency, and only then increase the load. The same happens with money. Small, regular investments build discipline, and discipline builds results. And more, when you act this way, you begin to replace the scarcity mentality with an abundance mentality. You stop thinking about what's missing and start seeing what can be created with what you already have. This change in perspective brings confidence, clarity, and opens doors that previously seemed impossible. Deep down, discipline is worth more than the amount. It's what defines whether you'll continue trapped in the cycle of consumption and frustration, or whether you'll walk the path of financial freedom. And this discipline starts precisely with small contributions, made consistently. If there's an investment capable of multiplying any amount, it's not in the stock market, nor in real estate, nor in millionaire businesses. The most powerful investment is in something that nobody can take away from you: knowledge. Think about it. When you take $100 and buy a finance book, participate in an online course, or even invest in mentoring, you're acquiring something that accumulates within you. Unlike clothes that wear out or a dinner that disappears in a few hours, knowledge grows and multiplies with each use. A simple insight learned from a book can prevent you from making mistakes that would cost thousands of dollars in the future. A course can show you a path you had never considered, opening new sources of income. A lecture can change how you view money, making you make smarter decisions for the rest of your life. Robert Kiyosaki always repeats, the greatest asset you can have is your mind. If you train it well, it generates infinite wealth. If you train it poorly, it generates debt. And that's exactly it. Money comes and goes, but knowledge remains. Imagine investing $100 in a book that teaches you to get out of debt, or in a course that shows you how to invest safely. This small value can generate a return that extends for decades. It's like planting a tree. At first it's small, but over time it generates shade, fruits, and even wood. Therefore, before even thinking about multiplying money in the financial market, multiply your understanding of how money works. With $100, you can buy information worth millions, because it changes your way of thinking, and whoever thinks differently acts differently. And whoever acts differently achieves different results. Many people still believe that investing is for millionaires, that only those with great fortunes can access the financial market. But the truth is quite different. Today, with just $100, it's already possible to start investing safely and practically. One of the simplest examples are treasury bonds. In the United States, treasury bonds; in Brazil, Tesouro Direto. These bonds work as a loan you make to the government. You lend your money, receive interest in return, and at the end, recover the invested amount. It's considered one of the safest investments in the world, ideal for those taking their first steps. Another option is CDBs, bank deposit certificates, which in some countries are equivalent to term deposits. With $100, you can already invest in CDBs from smaller banks, which offer good returns and in many cases have banking system guarantees. Additionally, many of them offer daily liquidity, meaning you can withdraw your money whenever you want without being locked in for years. But it doesn't stop there. With $100, you can also invest in index funds, ETFs, which allow you to buy small parts of several companies at the same time. It's like having a basket of stocks with just one purchase. This reduces risks and helps you become familiar with how the market works. There are also low initial value investment funds that allow you to enter the market with little and learn in practice how return on invested capital works. The central point is this: $100 is already enough for you to start. You don't need to wait to accumulate thousands to enter the investment world. The most important thing is to take the first step, gain confidence, and gradually increase the contribution amounts. Think of this as training. When you start at the gym, you don't pick up the heaviest weights. You start with little, learn the technique, create discipline, and gradually get stronger. In the investment world, it's the same thing. Start small, but start. And here's the most important detail. When you invest $100, it's not just the money that grows, it's your mentality that transforms. You begin to see yourself as an investor, and this identity change is what really opens the path to great financial achievements in the future. If it was once almost impossible to start a business without large sums of money, today the digital world has opened doors that anyone with just $100 can walk through. Never in history have we had so many opportunities to transform little into much with such a low entry cost. Think about this. With $100, you can register a domain on the internet, pay for simple hosting, and put your first website online. This means creating your own space where you can sell products, offer services, or even share knowledge. In the past, opening a physical business required rent, inventory, employees, and large investments. Today, with an amount that many spend on a single weekend outing, you can build a global business. Another possibility is using this amount to create an ebook or digital course. Imagine investing in a good cover, editing tools, and a publishing platform. You put your experience, your talent, or even something you studied and transform it into a product that can be sold infinitely. The work is done once, but the return can last for years, and it doesn't stop there. With $100, it's also possible to start a small online marketing campaign using social media to reach people who have never heard of you. Platforms like Facebook ads, Instagram ads, or Google ads allow you to target the right audience, and often a single customer acquired already pays for the initial investment. There are also those who use this money to buy digital tools that accelerate processes, automation software, a design subscription to create professional posts, or even an email marketing system to start building a contact base. These are small steps that together create the foundation of a solid business. The most incredible thing is that, in the digital environment, scaling doesn't require giant proportions of money, but rather strategy and consistency. What starts small with $100 can transform into something much bigger with discipline and long-term vision. In summary, if before you needed inheritance, luck, or high capital to start a business, today what you really need is creativity and decision. Money is just the seed. What makes the difference is how you plant and cultivate. One of the most fascinating secrets of finance is understanding how time can transform little into much. When you invest $100 and maintain this habit month after month, something extraordinary begins to happen. Compound interest. Albert Einstein called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world, and with good reason. It works like this. You invest $100. This amount generates a small return. In the next cycle, you don't have just the initial 100, but 100 plus the interest. In the following one, the interest starts earning on top of the total amount. And this keeps growing like a snowball. At first, the results seem slow. It's like planting a tree. In the first months, you barely notice growth. But suddenly, with time and consistency, it grows strong, creates deep roots, and begins to bear fruit. Now imagine $100 invested regularly over 10, 15, 20 years. The accumulated value can surprise anyone. And the most incredible part, the effort wasn't to increase giant amounts, but simply to maintain consistency. Time, when allied with discipline, becomes the greatest wealth multiplier that exists. Those who understand this learn that you don't need haste, but patience and perseverance. One of the biggest keys to changing your financial life is learning to redefine where money goes. Often it's not that there's a lack of money to invest, but rather that it's directed in the wrong way. Think about how many times $100 leave your pocket for things that disappear in a few days. A subscription you barely use, frequent outings to eat out, clothes that get forgotten in the closet, small luxuries that bring momentary satisfaction but don't build anything in the long term. Now imagine taking those same $100 and using them as a seed for growth. In a book that changes your way of thinking, in an investment fund that starts earning interest, in a small online project that can become extra income. The money is the same. The difference is in the choice. Those who spend see money disappear. Those who invest see money work. When you start transforming expenses into investments, something powerful happens. You realize that you already had the necessary resource all along. It just wasn't being used the right way. This change in vision is like turning the key of a car that had been parked for years. Suddenly, it gains movement and direction. A large part of financial obstacles arises from the difficulty in distinguishing what is desire and what is necessity. Many people say there's no money left to invest, but in practice, part of the income is constantly directed toward immediate desires. Necessity is what guarantees the foundation of life: housing, food, health, education. Desire is everything that can be postponed, exchanged, or even avoided without compromising your survival. The problem is that modern consumption constantly disguises desires as if they were necessities. When you look at $100, you might think, I need to replace my phone with a newer model, a dual, but do you really need to? Or is it just the desire to keep up with a trend? Those $100, when put into an investment, can start building a secure future, while the new phone loses value in a few months. Knowing how to separate desire from necessity is like having a compass in the financial world. It shows you the right direction and prevents you from wasting energy and resources on things that don't add real value. Every time you choose to invest, instead of giving in to a passing desire, you're proving to yourself that you have control. And that control is the foundation of financial freedom. Many people believe that to change their lives, they need to make a big financial leap. Invest thousands of dollars at once, open a huge business, or have a revolutionary idea. But the truth is that consistency beats intensity. It's like going to the gym. There's no point in training 10 hours in a single day and then stopping for months. What gives results is training a little every day. With money, it works the same way. Investing $100 every month, without fail, is much more powerful than investing $5,000 once and never repeating it. Consistency creates discipline, and discipline creates results. Small, constant contributions not only make money grow, but also build a solid habit. And in the end, it's the habit that shapes who you become. This is the great lesson. It's not about starting big, it's about not stopping. The consistent investor always beats the sporadic one because the force of habit and time work in their favor. Money by itself is just paper or numbers on the screen. What really defines whether it will grow or disappear is the mentality of whoever controls it. Two people can have the same $100 and still have completely different destinies. One person, guided by fear and scarcity mentality, will spend quickly, seeking immediate pleasure or believing that it doesn't make a difference to save so little. The result? At the end of the month, nothing has changed. The other person, with an investor mentality, will see those $100 as an opportunity. Maybe they'll start with a simple investment, buy a finance book, or use the amount to start a small online project. The return may not be immediate, but with each step they reinforce their identity as someone who makes money work. This difference in mentality creates two completely distinct paths. One leads to stagnation, the other leads to growth. That's why getting rich starts much more in the head than in the wallet. When you change the way you think, you change your choices. And when you change your choices, you change your future. Many people postpone the first step because they think, when I earn more, then I'll invest. But this is one of the biggest financial traps. Increased income by itself doesn't solve anything if there's no discipline. Proof of this is that many people receive salary increases but remain trapped in debt because they increase expenses along with income. The key is to start now with what you already have. If today you can only invest $100, that's the starting point. If you wait for the right moment, it will never come, because there will always be a new bill, a new urgency, or a new desire consuming the money. By starting small, you train the mentality, create discipline, and build confidence. This habit is like an engine. At first it may seem slow, but soon it picks up pace and gains strength. What matters is not the size of the first step, but the fact that it puts you in motion. Starting where you are is a powerful message because it eliminates excuses. It doesn't matter if the amount is small. What matters is that you plant the seed today to harvest tomorrow. Most people spend their entire lives following a pattern. Work hard, receive the salary and spend. The next month, restart the cycle. It's like running on a treadmill. You make an effort but don't go anywhere. When you decide to invest, even if it's just $100, something changes. You start putting money to work. And this is the real difference between those who remain trapped and those who achieve financial freedom. Working for money means always depending on time and energy, but time is limited and energy is too. However, when you invest, you create something that continues generating fruit even when you're not present. Money starts earning while you sleep, rest, or spend time with family. This is how assets are born. Small seeds that over time produce more and more harvests. And it all starts with a simple decision. Stop seeing money only as a reward for work and start seeing it as a silent employee who can generate results day and night. This change in vision is what differentiates those who always live trapped by bills and payments from those who build, little by little, a life of tranquility and abundance. More important than the $100 itself is the habit you build by investing. The invested money may vary, but the habit remains and strengthens with each repetition. Think of someone who decides to save $100 every month. In the first month, it seems little. In the second, there are still no great results. But after a year, besides the accumulated money, there's something even more powerful: the discipline created. This habit shapes financial character. It teaches patience, consistency, and especially self-control. Few people can resist the temptation of immediate consumption. When you develop the habit of investing, you prove to yourself that you have control over money and not the other way around. And the most interesting thing is that once consolidated, the habit becomes natural. Just like brushing teeth or taking a shower, investing becomes part of your routine, something automatic. And it's precisely this automatic habit that creates silent, constant, and lasting wealth. Therefore, never underestimate the power of starting small. You're not just investing $100, you're training your mind and creating a routine that can accompany you for your entire life. Investing $100 may seem insignificant at first, but there's an invisible gain worth as much as, or even more than, the financial return. Confidence. At the beginning, fear is natural. Many think, what if I lose this money? What if it doesn't work out? But when you take the first step, even a small one, you begin to realize that you're capable of managing your finances differently. Each new investment reinforces this feeling. You look back and realize you're no longer the same person. The one who used to spend everything without thinking can now plan, choose better, and build a more solid future. This progress feeds self-esteem, clarity, and security in your own decisions. Confidence, in turn, creates a positive cycle. The more you trust, the more you invest. The more you invest, the more you learn. And the more you learn, the more results appear. Thus, with each step, you're not just accumulating money, but also strengthening your investor identity. This is perhaps the greatest gift that $100 can give you, the certainty that you're capable of taking control of your financial life. One of the most powerful things that happens when you decide to invest $100 is the so-called domino effect. A small decision opens the way for other, bigger and better decisions. It works like this. You start by saving $100. A short time later, you realize you managed to organize yourself and naturally begin wanting to invest $150, then $200. This simple initial gesture awakens in you the desire to learn more, to seek new opportunities, and to take better care of your money. Additionally, people around you also notice your change. Family, friends, and even work colleagues can be inspired by your example. Suddenly, that apparently small decision begins to generate a chain impact, transforming not only your life, but also that of those close to you. It's like pushing the first domino piece. Alone, it seems too small. But when it falls, it triggers a sequence that moves all the others. Similarly, $100 invested today can be the beginning of a silent revolution in your financial life. After everything we've seen, it's clear that the most important thing isn't the amount you start with, but the identity you assume. Investing $100 won't make you a millionaire overnight, but it's the spark that ignites the change. What transforms your life isn't a big sudden leap, but consistency in small steps. It's the discipline of choosing to invest instead of spend, to plant instead of consume, to think about the future instead of living only in the present. When you make this decision, you stop being just a consumer and become an investor. And this changes everything: your mentality, your confidence, your habits, and over time, your wealth. Financial freedom isn't the result of luck, but of choices repeated with discipline. And the good news is that this journey can start today, with just $100 and the decision to change how you view money. Now, I want to invite you. If this message made sense to you, if it opened your mind or brought you new ideas, leave your like and subscribe to the channel. This helps our community grow and ensures you don't miss the next videos full of stories and strategies to transform your relationship with money. Thank you for accompanying me this far, and see you in the next video.